Hi, welcome to our video. It's good to see you again. Now, I've been putting off doing this video because our nation is in intense struggles with protests and some riots. But I was thinking about all this and trying to figure out what's happening and why people are doing things they're doing, why some of the protests they're fine, their talking is fine, but other ones just want to destroy, and it seems like they're full of hate and bitterness. It's awful. Now I want to comment before we start this video. I want to say some things that I really disappointed about Black Lives Matter, the organization. They want to just beat the government, and I can't support that. But really, black lives are precious. They matter. We can stand for that. We need to be careful of our attitude. It's if we're white or black or other POCs, people of color, we might need to change that. Our discrimination, it's important that we don't allow that. We have a choice. People can be offended, they can choose that, or they can choose not to be offended. It's our attitude, and we need to deal with that. And I just wanted to comment about that. Now let's go on with the rest of the video. And we see the video. There's a guy's name is Hawk Newson. He wants to burn the system down and destroy that. He has a plan for a militia set up to kill cops. Many are holding grudges from the past, and they're not willing to forgive other people. I can understand that. Sometimes it's difficult, but we don't want to follow that way of thinking. There's a group called Black Lives Matter, BLM, because black lives are precious. But they don't mean precious. They mean, oh, they're important, like more important than others. And really, all people, black, their lives are important and precious. People discriminate and say, I don't like black. Some blacks don't like white. They discriminate that way. But that's called racism. And that's wrong. It doesn't matter who's doing it. It's not what should be happening. We need to check our hearts. Do you check your heart? Do you have God's principles in your heart? That's important. Especially Christians to have those principles and not grudges. And not saying, I won't forgive or have hate. We shouldn't do that. We need to always love and show kindness. But sometimes people don't think that way. They see people with different colors and they resist that. But we shouldn't. We need to welcome all colors. We're all the same. God created all people. Our skin color is different. That shows God's creativity. But our blood is all red. If you cut your hand, you're going to see red, no matter what your skin color is. All people have red blood. And we need to think about that. For God so loved the world. That's all people. He sacrificed his only son, Jesus. He's willing for all people to come to him. Why? Because all people are precious. And so we need to do things God's way. We need to practice loving people. So we need to check our heart, take it out, look at it, see what's in there. If there's anything bad, get it out. If we see any discrimination, get it out. Get it all out. We need to love. That's important because all people are important. So I'm thinking, I hear both sides of this situation. Black Lives Matter, BLM want it their way. That means only concern for black lives. But I see some of them are complaining, like around the murder of Floyd. His murder was wrong. Those cops need to be put in jail. And we need to honor that. But we need to see skin color and say, oh, ours is top. No, that's wrong. Protest in our nation, that's allowed. But for people to riot, that's not right.
I said that the Black Lives Matter organization, the group, are anti-police, anti-white, anti-free speech, anti-capitalist, anti-family, neo-Marxist revolutionaries. And I said I wouldn't make such an enormous accusation without proof. Well, here's your proof. The Black Lives Matter founders and leaders in their own words. First up, Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors admits that she and fellow co-founder Alicia Garza are trained Marxists. Watch.
I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists.
Then you can check the Black Lives Matter website itself, which calls for, quote, a national defunding of police. The Black Lives Matter website also promises to, quote, disrupt the Western prescribed nuclear family structure, end quote. The Black Lives Matter group, the organization, also promotes anti-white discrimination. The Black Lives Matter chapter in Los Angeles called for a so-called Black Christmas, which means a boycott of white-owned stores in favor of black-owned stores. Leaders of the Black Lives Matter movement also condemn capitalism. Anthony Radcliffe, a Black Lives Matter leader but not a founder, says, and I quote, until we start to see capitalism just as nefarious as white supremacy, we will always be struggling. The co-founder of the Black Lives Matter movement, Alicia Garza, likewise demonized capitalism at the 2016 Annette conference. Take a look.
We need to build a different kind of movement, not just by opposing what is wrong what is fascist, what is xenophobic, what is racist, what is capitalist, imperialist about our president-elect. It's not just about opposing those things. And it's not just about him. But it is also very much about organizing and building power.
The Black Lives Matter group is also anti-free speech. Back in 2017, Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Cullors admitted this to MSNBC's Katie Tur. Take a listen.
Hate speech, which is what we're seeing coming out of white nationalist groups, is not protected under the First Amendment rights.
In fact, constitutionally, hate speech is protected under the First Amendment per the Supreme Court. And lest anybody doubt the true political motives behind this group, aside from their anti-police, anti-family, anti-white, anti-capitalist, anti-free speech, neo-Marxist ideology, Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrice Cullors admitted to CNN's Jake Tapper that the goal of the Black Lives Matter movement, the group, the organization, is to get President Trump out of office. Take a look.
But our goal is to get Trump out.
Finally, Hawk Newsom, president of Greater New York Black Lives Matter, says if the Black Lives Matter group doesn't get their way, they will burn it down. Take a look.
If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system and replace it. All right. And I could be speaking figuratively. Okay. I could be speaking literally. It's a matter of interpretation.
This is the Black Lives Matter group, the organization, the leaders and founders in their own words.
So, Black Lives Matter supports what? Burning businesses, support killing people, especially police. Some, it doesn't matter if the police are black or what. It makes no sense. None. Destroying statues. We look in Proverbs chapter 1, verse 22. It says, don't move the former lines that have been set up, statues. We look at them and think about that, and they're bad. Do we celebrate it? No. We look to the past. We say, oh, that's wrong. I don't want to honor that kind of thing. And our attitude towards a statue needs to be positive. Most of them are good, and we can support that. Because of one area where they had a problem, what do we need to do? Jesus said, a person who's without sin, let them pick up and throw the first stone. But we're not supposed to do wrong, but all of us have sinned. We need to depend on God for forgiveness. And we don't continue to hate. We don't say, I won't forgive. No. We need to be willing to forgive. How many times are we supposed to forgive? 7 times 70. Does that mean the exact number? No. That means always. My heart is to forgive people. But some we need to stand, and there has to be justice, and that's right. We need to insist on that. But there's no excuse for doing wrong, for committing murder, or looking at people, and if there's a cop's going to give you a ticket, we irritate them. No, we think about God's things, how his heart feels, the way he thinks. We need to clothe ourselves with the mind of Christ. Jesus, when he was crucified, what did he do? Did he think about himself? No. He told John, he said, John, you see this woman here? That's your mother. He said, Mom, you see John? He's your son. He will take care of you while he's on the cross. And while he's on the cross, Jesus said, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. So Jesus was already dying. He didn't judge people. Jesus forgave people because they don't understand what they're doing. So we need to have the same as his example for us. And we need to do the same if people discriminate against us. We need to do what? Forgive. Remember, I was once driving in my car, and all of a sudden, there were police cars all over the place. They stopped me. I was nervous, scared. Oh, what did I do now? And they got out and they had their guns all aimed at me. And told me to get out of the car, so I got out and I walked around, had put my hands on the hood, and I obeyed them. I wasn't negative towards the police. And they checked me out and they asked me a whole bunch of questions. And I was innocent, fully innocent. I had no clue of what was happening or why they were stopping me. So the police got in their car and left. They said thank you, but I don't think they said thank you. They just said, okay, go on. So I have some example where people were against me, but I just forgave them. I didn't hold a grudge because the police were just doing their job, and I honor that. I respect that. Those people, the police. I don't resist them or fight with them. Police are usually nice, not throwing me on the ground. Don't just pull out their guns for no reason. But if a person acts properly, then the police are most often fair. I put in videos, which you just saw. Now you see that BLM, their goal, their political stance is not good. They don't want fairness or justice. They want power. They're resisting. Some of us deaf say we want deaf power. Deaf power. But the attitude needs to be correct. Not because we're trying to riot or be against the government. The BLM group, that shows that they want nobody, no government. They don't want anyone telling them what to do. The same as in the Bible times. There are scriptures that said the people did everything that was right in their own eyes. Means don't tell me what to do, I'll do it my way. And we need to be careful of our attitude to do it God's way. He's in charge of every situation. We need to pay attention to do things God's way. He said, don't remove the old statues or markers or borders. Why? Those lines, we see those and we know, oh, this here, this is good. This over here is bad. So we make a record of that. We remember that. We see those borders. And if we remove those borders or the statues or the lines, we need to repeat over and over and over again the lessons from the past. And that's not right. One man that I know died also, but now I know there was more than one that has died because of the police doing wrong. But what's the point of burning down businesses and houses and just destroying things? That doesn't help anything. That's not making other people think, oh, you're precious. Need to care for them. We need to have justice, not discrimination. I want to encourage you to think about those things. Why join BLM? Because they're wrong. They're definitely wrong. You saw in the video. And I know what political group supports that. I know which group of government doesn't support Black Lives Matter. And there's reasons they don't. So we need to check our attitude and make sure it's right. Analyze it. Think about it. And so I had to delay this video because I wanted to make sure my heart and attitude were right. We need to have a discussion. I tried to have a discussion with a black person about this, and we started having a little discussion, and when I asked some questions, the person just blew me off, said, I don't want to discuss it, it's over. But we need to discuss. Then, if we want to have results, we need to discuss. Black Lives Matter says, Martin Luther King said, violence and hatred and hating people That doesn't solve the problem. It makes it worse. And I want to suggest that we honor Martin Luther King. Honest, that man, he honored God. We need to practice his principles. And I want to ask you, who are you following? Whose principles are you following? White, black, God, whatever. It's not important to skin color. What's important is that our blood color is all the same. So I want to thank you for watching. And I'm glad I was able to share my point with you and my concerns. And righteousness honors a nation. But sin, that's a shame to any people. So we need to follow righteousness, because righteousness is wonderful. So we need to practice God's ways. Thank you again for watching the video. God bless you. We love you. God himself loves you. Doesn't matter your skin color. It doesn't matter. Bye-bye. We'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.